guys, so I'm back. I did have a little bit of a break. Like, I don't know, I think I started filming one of my little what I get up to over a particular week, and then a couple of things happened where I just didn't think about filming them and stuff, and that was kind of like the quote unquote interesting things that happen. And then I was like, oh, do you know what, like maybe consider this a good opportunity to have a break, just sort of because Christmas was happening and stuff like that. So yeah, I have been kind of MIA. I'm sure no one's that bothered, but I just thought I'd probably should say where I've been for anyone that is interested. So I've been alright. I've just been living my life really, and doing Christmassy things, hanging out with my family, and that's been really good. Taking a break from work. I was off for pretty much 2 weeks, which was beautiful. And also I've been off from uni and off from netball, so I've had like a complete break, and I think I really needed that. Like, I very much am a person that needs to stay busy. Like, I don't really know what I would do if I went overly long without having my little bits that I do happening, but it was really nice for those 2 weeks to just be sat on my arse, eating, playing games, drawing, kind of doing what I want really. Yeah, it was a really good break, and now we're in 2025 and I feel pretty good actually. So I thought, rather than doing kind of like the usual video that I would do, which is just kind of like me filming little bits that I do over like the weekend and stuff, I thought maybe I'd do a little bit more of a sit down chat shit about what's been on my mind and stuff now that we're in a new year. So yeah, first off, I've been seeing a lot of posts and things just like on Reddit and other places about people kind of feeling bad because it's, you know, the new year. Like, a lot of people seem to feel quite sad, and just kind of have like negative emotions associated with it. And I was kind of thinking like, oh, I wonder why that is, because personally, I mean, I'm not a person that gets, at least since being a kid, I'm not really a person that gets really excited about the new year. It's still a special day to me because it is like a tangible point where it's like, okay, it is the end of something and it's the start of something else, you know? Like, so I still enjoy it, but I don't really have yet any massively positive or negative emotions towards it. It's just kind of like, okay, well, you know, it's just another excuse to not be at work really, and to kind of spend time doing me things that I like doing. So yeah, but so I was seeing all of these posts and hearing people say that it makes them sad. I was sort of wondering why I thought that was, and the only way I can kind of pin it down, I guess, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that maybe a big part of feeling sad about it is that, as I say, it's a tangible point of time where something, even if it's a conceptual thing like time, something has ended, right? For most people, especially like adults who work, and obviously time, it kind of feels like once you get out of school, like not even necessarily full-time education, but school specifically, when you transition out of being like a teenager and into an adult, and you have all of your responsibilities and things that you have to pay attention to and think about, and it's like, I think for a lot of people, we don't really have time at any other point in the year to kind of step back and take stock and think, oh my God, like so much time is passing so quickly. You know, it felt like millennia, going from age 6 to 16, going from like 19 to 29, 20 to 30, because I'm almost 30 years old. It comparatively feels like no time's passed at all. And I guess for a lot of people who were in that situation with me, where time, generally speaking, days kind of flow into each other and weeks pass and years seem to go by incredibly quickly. New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, it's like usually people aren't working either, so they are just kind of faced with the reality of that's another year gone. Oh God. You know, like, not to get really morbid, but it is kind of like I'm one step closer to being old, and like then following that thought, I'm 1 year closer to being dead. You know, I think people get scared and sad at the thought of a year coming to an end, because like obviously, as we all know, time is kind of meaningless really. As a species, we're the one that's we've made time into what it is, you know, like no other animal really has the same kind of concepts. They just go about their business. But so we put a lot of, I think, pressure on ourselves because we keep track of time literally to the second, that when you are forced to kind of come to a stop from running around working, seeing friends, making plans and doing all of that, looking after your kids if you have them, you know, when you're kind of forced to stop, it's like you almost can't see the wood for the trees, and you're just looking back and thinking, wow, that year flew by. I'm probably another year older. Like, you know, everything feels really out of control. And obviously I do get that. I get that way of thinking. And I think it must be really difficult when you're kind of forced to face that realization every year. And then I think where that tends to lead is thinking like, well, what have I achieved? What have I done in that year? You know, rather than just focusing on the fact that another year's gone. You kind of forget what happens at this point of the year. You know, in January, everyone is obsessed with self-improvement and kind of making this year better than the last one and stuff. And I'm sure a lot of people do a lot of really amazing things that you just don't see that then when you're in December. Like, you kind of forget all of these fun little projects and trips and like activities and things that you do, and you just think about, I think especially where it's winter, and you just think about how cold and shit it's been. I think it's a real shame, and I do feel sad for people that feel so sad at the end of a year. I mean, I understand it. Like I say, it's kind of a concrete time where you can say, like, we've lost a year. But at the same time, it's such a good opportunity. You know, I mean, we all know that it's meaningless. Really, it is just another day. It's only really put on a pedestal because we've put it there, you know, like no other creature cares that a year has ended. The best thing is to try to not care, really. It's unhelpful, I think, to really dwell on the fact that a year has gone. I think the best thing that anyone could do who might be feeling that way, and it's certainly what I'm going to try and do anyway, because like I say, it's really hard to remember the things that happened at the beginning of a year when you're kind of at the other end of it. But I think the thing to do is just try and keep track of those things more. And yeah, when it gets to the end of 2025, rather than thinking, oh no, I've lost a year, think about what you've gained, you know? Like, yeah, you have lost a year, but then even saying that, you haven't lost anything. You've lived through a year, and Oh, hello, mouse. And I guess that's the point. You've lived through a year, but what have you done with that? If you can look back and say, oh, well, you know what? I don't know, I went on holiday. I saw my friends a lot. I saw my family a lot. I went to a gig. You know, all of these little things. Even I finished my degree. I got a qualification. I worked really hard at my job. I got a promotion. I got paid more money. Hooray. I bought a top I really liked in May. You know, just stuff like that. It seems all little things, but I think it's the little things that really add up to kind of decide what year you've had. You know, if you only focus on the small things that have been a bit shit, you know, like those days that we all have that just aren't brilliant, then of course you're going to feel like you've lost something, because you think, oh god, well, I did absolutely nothing. You know, like November, I was just sat on my arse in my room because I didn't want to go anywhere, and god, what a waste. But you know, like I think we really do tend to just, we can't see the wood for the trees, I think, and it's so easy to focus on the negatives of everything in life, really. And it's so easy for me to say, like, oh, well, just stop. But really, like, try your best to keep track of the really good things that do happen, and even the things that just make you content. You know, it doesn't have to be this crazy thing. It can just be a small thing, like keeping in touch with someone you care about, or, oh, hey, mouse, or giving your dog a stroke. I don't know, I feel like, this is more me talking to me now, I just feel like we have, like, I don't know, I just feel like, generally speaking, we are so blessed to even be here, and it is really scary to think about time passing, and you know, especially if you do feel that you are stagnating, or otherwise just not living the life you want to live. But I mean, time has to pass for you to be able to get to where you want to be, and every year that goes by is an opportunity, I guess, for you to work on yourself. You can't build a house without a strong foundation. Like, yeah, it's like when I sit here and I think of like where I'm at, you know, I'm 29 years old, and I am genuinely in a very good place, but I live in a house with my sister and her partner. I am working a job that, I mean, I don't hate my job, but it's certainly not what I thought I'd be doing. And yeah, I'm in a situation where I'm not earning bad money at all, but a lot of it gets spent on uni fees and all of that. And if I focus on all of that too much, then I'm kind of like, oh god, you know, like, what am I doing with my life? But like I say, it's the foundation that you really have to pour your time into, and with my degree, that's what I'm doing. You know, it's like all of these things, they're so important, and it does take time, unfortunately. Like, everything we want in life, unless you are a millionaire, everything takes time, because you have to build up that money and that experience and everything else. Yeah, I don't really know what the point of this video was now. Yeah, other than just to say, I don't know, I've been doing some general thinking, general thoughts about life and things like that, and I guess I just thought, I've not posted in a while, let's get the phone out and let's put this on YouTube, and I don't know, see if it resonates with anyone else. I'm probably just shouting into the void, really, but like, I don't know, even if it is just my phone camera, it does kind of feel good to just talk. God knows I love a talk. So okay, anyway, all of that stuff aside, how do I think 2024 has gone? I think 2024 has been a banging year for me, to be honest. Like, It's the first time in almost 10 years that I've travelled anywhere, and I managed to go on holiday twice, like 2 solo mystery trips. That's been insane. That's been so, so good. And also because I got that £200 gift voucher for doing a survey, I've booked another one for this June after my next year of uni finishes. So that's going to be amazing. I've worked another year like into my degree, so after this year's finished, I'll have 1 year left of my undergraduate. That's exciting. That's a really cool thing that I've continued to do. I set myself up, and it's going to sound so stupid because it's such a small thing, but I made myself a little makeshift whiteboard calendar thing. So every month I just write on there the things that I'm going to be doing every month, whether that's plans with friends or work stuff or uni stuff, or just whatever I'm doing. Oh, careful. And the reason for that is that I kind of had been feeling like, God, I really don't do anything. And again, it's that looking back, you kind of can't, those small things like going to dinner with someone, or going for a night out, and it all fades into nothing when you try and look back on the little things over a year. But I kind of wanted to write them down so that every month I could see like, oh, actually, and I've worked out as well that I am kind of a shut-in, but I do well when I have like one thing a week to look forward to, I think. Like, and even if that is just me taking myself to the cafe to do uni stuff, I look forward to that every week now. Meeting up with a friend, like, it's really just small things, but it kind of helps me feel a bit more social, I guess. I think as well it's because when you get older, I think, not for everyone, but your social life does kind of fall off a little bit because everyone is busy. So yeah, that's been helping. It's just kind of looking at a month calendar and going like, oh, okay, I actually have a good few things to look forward to, or even a good couple of things. So that's been good. Started netball. That's been it's been fun, it's been interesting. And again, that was also to kind of broaden my social horizons, I guess, because I haven't worked in the office for so long. I don't really have any easy way to kind of see people regularly, because, as I say, friends are busy, I'm busy. So yeah, that's been really good. I've met some really good people through that, and obviously doing netball itself is quite fun. I've put myself out there a little bit more last year, and that's good. I also did, like, I'm a very introspective person anyway, like I always have been. I think it stems a lot from kind of not really having any friends at all back in school. So I was pretty much, I've always been very self-reliant and independent in that respect. So yeah, I'm a very introspective person, and I think coupled with me putting myself out there a little bit more, it's kind of given me more insight into who I am as a person, at least at the moment. And yeah, that kind of led me to come to the realization that my sexuality is a little bit different than I thought it was. So like ever since I was like 13, I've always said that I'm bisexual basically, and that's all there is to it. But actually it was after meeting a person that I thought was really cool, really awesome person, and then going on a few dates and then not really feeling, I guess, what I thought I would, if that makes sense. And then looking back through the years of dating that I've done and kind of thinking, I'd always assumed that I was really, really picky and just wasn't satisfied with anyone. But having gone on multiple dates with this person who is like, does tick all the boxes and is very cool, and I still don't feel these things, okay, there's something something to look into here. And yeah, so that essentially led to me coming to the realization that while I do still identify as bi, it's whilst now being on the arrow ace spectrum. So hard to kind of know exactly where I fall on there, but the labels that fit me at the moment would be QPO-sexual, QPO-romantic. So that's basically someone who is arrow ace, but they desire a relationship and the stuff that goes along with that. So which is why I still feel I identify as bi, because I can see myself doing that with a guy or a girl. Like, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, all that being said, I would say it's been a very good year for me, and I do honestly think that's the highlight, because I do really value knowing who I am. Like, to me, I think self-discovery is the most important thing anyone can do, because if you don't know yourself, how do you navigate through life? So having that realization and kind of finally being like, oh wow, okay, I'm not picky necessarily, and there isn't actually anything wrong with me for not ever really feeling anything for anyone, not really being into kissing and all of that stuff. Like, that isn't just because, oh, I'm weird, or like, oh, you know, I'm damaged in some way. It's just a facet of who I am as a person. And yeah, so I mean, I did go through a period of being like, oh god, like I don't want to be that, like that's not good, is it? But I'm kind of at peace with it now, because I think it goes along with the introspection. I know myself so well, and I'm so happy in my own company that I'm like, and that was like the one missing piece was, well, you know, what what do I do? I'm nearly 30 years old and I've not been in a relationship and all of that stuff. Like, you know, that was like the one thing that I was like, I don't know what to do with this. Like, I went to therapy, not for that reason, but it did come up because it was a concern. Like, this is the year before last year. So before I'd even kind of looked into any of this stuff. And I was just like, I want to be in a relationship, I think that's what I want, but I don't feel that with anyone. Like, it's really, really weird. But now I feel that I've discovered that, because I think a lot of people have the perception of anyone who is like asexual, aromantic, or a combination of the two, that we all are repulsed by sex, by romantic relationships and any of that stuff. And while absolutely that there is part of the community that is that, the beauty of the spectrum is that you can kind of fall anywhere on it. So it is possible to feel little to no sexual or romantic attraction towards people, but still be neutral towards those things, or like those things, you know? Like, it's not like libido and attraction are not the same thing. And wanting something doesn't mean that you are attracted to it. Like, in terms of a relationship or whatever, like, you can still want to do things, but not necessarily, like, the way I was trying to describe it earlier in the year is kind of like, most people who don't fall on either of those spectrums are born with a natural talent for certain things. You know, someone has the talent of being able to be romantically attracted to someone, as an example. Whereas someone like me can kind of come along and, you know, do the right things in terms of a romantic relationship and want to do those things, but they just don't have that natural talent. You know, it doesn't naturally click for them, but they still work on those things, you know. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's kind of when I first was doing research and kind of realising that these identities kind of fit me. That was kind of the way that I explained it to people, because I think if you're a person that isn't arrow, ace or a mix, it's really hard to understand how people cannot feel something that in your mind is just a natural thing. But then likewise, I guess on the other side of things, it's like, especially in the aromantic community, a lot of people will say, well, what is romantic attraction, you know? And it's so on point, because it's like, if you don't feel it, how do you know what it is? You know, it's a bit like when someone goes like, oh, what does love mean to you? And it's like, everyone has such a different way of describing it, because that's what's natural to them. And so if you don't, it's hard to know that you feel an absence of that to kind of then understand what it is meant to feel like, do you know? So it's like you don't even know that you're missing something. But yeah, I don't know, it has been a journey. 2024 has been a very, very good year for me. And while it would be great to pretend that each year is like a little capsule of good or bad, and if you've had a good one, you just want to stay in that, but we all know that that's not how time works. And also, a year isn't defined by one single good or one single bad thing. It's a mix. You know, I've had some shitty times in the last year as well, but I think overall it's been a good one, and I'm okay with the date changing by a number, because I just know that I'm sure there are going to be some shitty things that happen this year as well, like in my personal life, because that's life, really, isn't it? Some shitty things have already happened in the world this year, which is insane. I think we went 3 hours before some fucking craziness happened, but that's also life. There's always going to be shitty things going on, but I'm gonna continue building the foundation that I've been building for the past 29 years, and I am so determined that I will finish out 2025 with the same impression that I have now, which is that, okay, yeah, some not great things happened, but on the whole, some brilliant things have happened. So overall, good year. I've rambled on for probably like half an hour now, so this is going to be fun to edit. I hope if anyone stumbles across this video that it's in any way interesting. I hope you've all had brilliant years as well. And yeah, I guess I'll see you with the next one. I don't really know what I want to do, really, like what I want this little tiny channel to look like in 2025. On the one hand, I have really liked doing the random little clips of like what I do when I'm not working. You know, like I said when I started this, I follow a good few channels where people do that, and it is just, hey, this is my life. Don't get me wrong, those people do seem to do more interesting things than I do, but this is the reality of being a working adult that isn't like an influencer or anything. Like, things aren't as interesting in most ordinary people's lives as they are on YouTube. Nevertheless, I've enjoyed doing what I'm doing, but as you can tell, I do have a lot of thoughts, so I don't know if I maybe want to try pivoting a little bit more to videos like this, where I'm just talking at the camera about a thing that I think is interesting or rambly, you know? So I don't know. I will be back. I think I'll still probably post on Fridays where I can. Anyway, so rambling aside, it's nice to be back. I hope you've all had a brilliant Christmas and a brilliant New Year. And if you do feel sad about another year being gone, I encourage you to try and keep track of the good things that you've done, not the necessarily brilliant, amazing things that you're obviously going to remember, but if you can finish every week, I'd say every day, but we all have shit days. So if you can finish every week with at least one good thing that's happened, a good conversation, seeing your friends, hanging out with a family member that you love, you know, like if you can just try and keep track of one good thing a week, then by the end of this year, you'll have 52 things to look back on that have been positive. And I'm going to try and do that. I think, yeah, we'll meet back here at the end of this year, and let me know, I guess, if you've had a good year. I don't know, let me know if you've managed to find some fun things that you otherwise would have just forgotten in the mist of time. Yeah, all right, see you later, take care guys.